Hello, readers. This is Alexa Piper, author of Romance with lots of banter and found family vibes. And I am once more talking about Moonlight Cherries, which it is 2023 as I am recording this, early October of 2023. And Moonlight Cherries, my first self-published novel, is going to have a book birthday. It's going to turn 1 year old on October 7th, and so I'm going to be talking a lot about it. We had a bunch of podcasts about the book already, and I wanted to shift focus a little bit and talk not so much about Moonlight Cherries, but about Black Heart Blooming, which is supposedly, well, it is. It's not supposedly. It's the third book in the Phoenix Immortal series, but it's a little different. Let me explain what the book is. So, Moonlight Cherries is a book that describes the story of Amory and Sawyer falling in love through Amory's eyes. And the entire story that we see happening is really only told through Amory's eyes because that's what the book is. I don't know. That's just how the story unfolded for me. Now, as I was writing the book, and then also when I wrote the second book in the series, it became more and more evident to me that there is a lot of stuff that we don't know because we can't see it, because the character who is telling the story doesn't know about it or doesn't see it. And so that's why I initially conceived of telling the story through Sawyer's eyes as well. Not immediately, which is interesting, because if I had felt Sawyer sort of wanting to tell a story, I certainly would have made the first book, Moonlight Cherries, a dual point of view novel, but for some reason Sawyer didn't want to participate in that process. Anyway, certainly after Moonlight Phoenix is book 2 in the series, that all changed, and there was a lot more stuff that, Sawyer wanted to talk about. Now, just picking it up from there, chronologically, wouldn't really have worked, because the world, the supernatural world, is pretty it's pretty important to the kind of things that Sawyer deals with, and at least to me it feels like a pretty big world that we need to understand, at least to some degree, in order to understand what happens. And Sawyer isn't the type of person that explains a lot, probably, I think. And anyways, that's when I conceived of this Black Heart Blooming concept, which is basically going back in time and revisiting events that we partially see in Moonlight Cherries, but through Sawyer's eyes. And now, since these two characters, Amory and Sawyer, don't always physically share the same space, Black Heart Blooming isn't just a simple retelling. It does have this aspect, and it does, have it. There is an overlap in events and in conversations, but there's also a lot of stuff that we wouldn't have known about otherwise. There's events that we wouldn't have known about otherwise. I don't want to give anything away, but maybe minor spoiler, super minor spoiler, we see coming up right now. We see Sawyer leaving town at one point, and yeah, that is not something that we see in Moonlight Cherries, not really, anyways. So yeah, that's why I wrote a book that, if I were to give another author some writing advice, I certainly would advise against, you know, telling, retelling events just from another character's point of view, but Blackheart Blooming is certainly more than that. So that's why I did decide to write it, and why I felt it was necessary to do that. It's also a lot longer, which that sort of surprised me. I mean, it's a good 40% longer than Moonlight Cherries, which just goes to show you Sawyer gets up to a lot, you know. He's a witch hunter after all, and sometimes assassin. So what do you expect? Okay, I'm not sure if I should reveal recurring characters in Blackheart Blooming, but for people who've stuck around this long and who don't mind my ramblings, we will see the 3 vampires in Blackheart Blooming. We all know this. I think I've talked about this. We will also see a certain co-server of Emery's who comes on board at the very end of Moonlight Cherries. So we will see them a little more in Blackheart Blooming, and we'll learn a little bit more about them. What else? Well, yeah, Dwayne, of course, is going to be there. Jenny is going to be there, obviously. And yeah, there's my Ream subscribers know there's going to be a certain, well, they don't know who, but they know there's going to be a fox shifter. And thank you again to my Ream subscribers for helping me figuring out the correct name for this one fox shifter. Very grateful for that. Yeah, so I think that is everything about Blackheart Blooming I wanna tell you right now. If you have questions about the book and I can answer them without spoiling too much, I certainly will. Put them in the comments. And I will see you in the I will see you in the next podcast. Let's try that again. Oh yeah, I need to tell you who I am. I'm Alexa Piper, author of Romance, with lots of banter and found family vibes. Sometimes confused. That's a lie. I'm confused a lot of the time. No apologies. See you in the next podcast. Bye!